I take the time to tune inwards, to connect to that deeper awareness within me. I feel almost driven there by the insanity of the world. By my own insanity. By my own difficulty in trying to find a place in this world, to make sense of it. But I believe I've come to understand that really this world doesn't make sense. This human world doesn't make sense. It's chaotic, and it's confused, and none of the authorities are trustworthy. They're some of the most inverted, upside down people there are. I have zero trust and zero faith in any of the institutions. And that's a good thing. It's heartbreaking to lose faith in the world. But I think it's a necessary doorway inward to the true authority within. The true authority entirely. The authority outside of us is just an illusion. It's a lie that we've been told over and over and over again. I believe enlightenment, waking up, means recognizing the authority within ourselves and discrediting the systems and authorities of the world. It means finding our way back to ourself, to our heart, to the source within us. On the way, we meet all the parts of ourselves that we felt we had to sacrifice to fit into the world. We have to face the bitter truth that it was us that did the sacrificing. It was us that did the betraying. We abandoned ourselves because we valued the external validation more than our own. We don't need to punish ourselves further for that, but just recognize that we did it and the cost, and how it's really not actually a good solution to anything. It seems we learn who we are by losing ourselves and then retracing our steps, gathering up our pieces again. Seems reminiscent of the story of Osiris, whose brother cut him into many pieces. And his wife put him back together again. Those elements, those divine archetypes, are inside of us. We are the one that chops ourselves into pieces. But we also have the ability to mend ourselves. We really should stop looking outside of ourselves for our solutions. We can take cues from the world, with mindfulness. The world can show us ourselves. If we fully claim responsibility for our experience of the world, but we must bring everything back into our heart and see how it fits. The world is loud and produces vivid thoughts and strong emotions. And we're used to putting all of its messages on a high pillar in comparison to our own inner small voice. Our inner voice is not actually small. But often when we've given it so little credit, we've devalued it. It becomes shrunken to to a weak whisper. I don't think this ever happened for me. It was always strong. But it was often angry. It was often hurting. It wasn't the true depth of wisdom that would contextualize things. It wasn't the depth that I'm able to access now after years of practice. Of torturous pain. That broke me down. That made it necessary to go deep within myself. In those dark nights, when I thought death was preferable to living, when I imagined shedding all attachments to this world, it was in those moments of surrender that I found the true wisdom within myself. I found the essence of who I am. Something that transcends all limitations, all fears, all false narratives of this world. This is the wisdom that comes after tribulation, after suffering, after surrender. It's the peace that comes after defeat. Defeat of the ego's attachments. Defeat of the player of the games. It's ironic how we struggle so hard and push ourselves so far to win, to attempt to win this game, often not even knowing what winning means. Winning being this place where we can rest, and not have to play it anymore. This whole idea of retiring so that you can finally stop playing. But you can stop playing now. What are you afraid of? Do you really know? I've been afraid of being seen as weak, as vulnerable, as emotional, as somehow wrong. That my unique take on the world was somehow unacceptable. That I was bad. That I would be punished if I was honest. But in spending enough time with myself, taking enough time to reflect on who I really am, I see the deep and true value of who I am. And I know it's important that I value that paramount in my life. It's paramount that I guard that and keep it safe from the tendency to devalue it and give it away, from the messaging that the world regularly serves us, that is so confusing and so conflicted. That on one hand, we shouldn't be too proud. We shouldn't be too confident. We shouldn't be too cocky. And on the other hand, that we need to be driven. We need to make something of ourselves. We need to prove ourselves. And trying to hold these two attitudes is like a meat grinder for us. It's cruel. It's debilitating. It's soul-sucking. We give ourselves away for filthy lucre. We sell out our own souls. And in doing so, we spread that into the world. We perpetuate it. It spreads like a disease. It spreads like a virus, a bacteria. And it's infected our whole world, where we're willing to sell out nature. And nature is ourself. Nature is that part that would put us back together again. And nature is within us if we listen. If we prioritize it, if we recognize it, there's a wildness in us. There is a part that refuses to be tamed. There is a part of us that only knows the language of the heart. There's a part of us that understands deeply the wisdom of the body. There's a part of us deeply in touch with the elements. There's a part of us that hears the voices of the ancestors. The voices of the trees. The voices of the wind. And yet we would sacrifice all of that for the narcissistic voices of the superficial, the shallow, the idiotic, the loud. How insane it is that we give any time to these people who are just as caricatures of the worst traits that humanity has created. Two-dimensional, garish, unalive. We really should lose our appetite for sensationalism. We should reject it completely. We really do need to gather up all the trash. The literal trash, and the human behavior that is trashy. And dispose of it. Send it into the void for processing. The feelings that I feel about the systems of this world, the academics, the bureaucrats, the institutions, the governments, the people with letters behind their name that think they can tell me what to do. That think they have the right to dictate nature. All of these attributes that many people seem to think are important. I think they're pure trash. It enrages me how subservient people are to all of it. And I will feel these emotions, and I will recognize them, and I will speak them. I will honor them. Because they come from a place of truth and honesty and integrity. I will speak louder and louder the rest of my life. I will point out those things which deserve ridicule, which are trash, which should be disposed of. They take up far too much space, far too much energy. They co-opt, they exploit, they're parasitic, they are disease-producing. We must call them out, point them out, and dispose of them. We must recognize the harms that these institutions have done. This top-down authority that delegitimizes individual voices and hearts. That turns people into utter idiots. Useful idiots to the puppet masters. The zombies, the sheeple, who've given all their power away. I cannot abide these people. I believe compassion in this case requires an abrupt wake-up call. Compassion sometimes requires this. When somebody's behaving like a dysfunctional robot, when out of their ignorance and their stupidity, they're damaging the world around them, they must be disabled. They must be called out. I believe this is the role of the wounded healers, the Heoka empaths, the freedom fighters, the rainbow warriors, the walking wounded that are waking up. We need to wake up and not take the psyop pill of being woke. We need to be hypervigilant to reclaim and own our own mind. Because the external powers, the external authorities, will be 3 steps ahead in presenting a solution to every problem that they've created. These psychopaths study humanity like a hunter studies its prey. And they have been at this for a very long time. I believe currently they are attempting a massive takeover and slaughter. They intend to create a breakaway civilization. Birthed by a massive sacrifice of humanity. There's many ways to look at this, but I think we should not be too quick to use spiritual bypassing. We need to see this on many levels and act on many levels. Yes, we need to connect with the spiritual roots within us that say that all is well. At a deep level, all is well. We must have our roots in this place. We must come back to this place. Because this place is what gives us the power to create in the manifest world, in the physical world, that some call the kingdom of God. This is the place of culmination. This is the place of realness. This is the place where we attempt to make manifest the glory of God. And it's being worked out in time and space. And time and space is the cross that we bear. So we must stay rooted in our power. We must connect with it and reconnect with it. Stay connected with it. Practice being connected with it. Those roots that sustain us, that give us everything. But we also must stretch ourselves up and outward through the dimensions and aspire to bring the fruit of spirit into this world, to be living examples of the divine, to be embodiments of the highest aspirations. Most people are so out of touch with this part of themselves. This part of themselves that is the realest part. It is the foundation, it is their source. And yet they're distracted by the world of fruit, the world of manifestation, and thinking that somehow it's the source. And this is the lie. This is the lie that creates the world that we live in of lies. This world of inversion. That so many people have upside down. When as new souls come into this world, they become indoctrinated with this lie. And they get punished for pointing it out. They get isolated. They get gaslit. They get traumatized into compliance. But some of us refuse to be defeated. And instead we turn all of that pain and suffering into an obsidian blade that we use to cut through Maya, cut through the illusion, cut through the deceptions. Down to the bones of truth. And when we do find that solidity, that sureness, we never again wish to be deceived by the falsity of this world, of the dress-up performativity used for manipulation, used for control. Used as a food source for somebody else. Our purpose is to bring our unique light into this world and to shine it, to emanate it, and to dispel the darkness, to not let the world tell us who we are or how we should shine our light, how we should capitalize on it, how we should make a successful career out of it, how to brand it. We have to come to that place where we know we are making those decisions for ourselves. Maybe we want to try some of that, but then next week we change our mind. That's perfectly fine in my opinion. This world is about learning. But what is of most importance is that we are looking inward for that guidance. More and more the world is offering us easy solutions. That is not in our best interest. Not that we need to make it harder. It's already hard. It's already hard to take the time to listen within and trust our own voices. Trust our own instinct. That should be easy, but we've been trained against it. It seems that that's a waste of time. How can you be accomplishing something by just sitting and trying to think of nothing, trying to clear your mind? It goes counter to everything that the world says is important. So much so that when most people try to do this, they just fall asleep. They lose consciousness because their self is based in action, based in doing and thinking. And so if they stop doing and thinking, they're diminished, it seems. They sink into unconsciousness. Also, most people are exhausted on a regular basis because much of what they are doing is against the grain. It's pushing the river. It's trying too hard. It's efforting. And that causes a tremendous amount of stress and strain. And this is a huge reason why so much of our world is dysfunctional. Systems are not created with wisdom and insight, based on nature. No, they're diametrically opposed to that. Academia, bureaucracy is filled with people who mostly can only regurgitate systems of dissection. They only think in compartmentalization, in boxes, and moving things around that they actually don't even understand the meaning of. They're shuffling papers. They're doing a lot of busy work that accomplishes very little, other than wasting resources and enslaving people. The system is doomed for failure. And I only hope that I live to see it. I hope to see the fall of institutions, of governments, of countries. So that people will wake up. So that people will stop depending on these external authorities. Chaos and anarchy would be better for the human soul. We would come together from a place of true compassion, our hearts would wake up. And I think this is the very reason why they maintain their bread and circus protocol, to keep everybody pacified. But there is a great rage brewing like a volcano. This whole world is being unsettled. And that's a good thing.